Welcome everyone on today's Metal3 Community meeting. Today is the 24th of May 2023, and my name is Adam Roseman. I will be your host today. Please note that the meeting is recorded, and as usual, we would start with introductions, but I don't see any new participants joining us today, so we can continue with the reminders. As usual, please feel free to add your organization as an official adopter by creating a PR and pushing it to the Metal3 docs and then modifying the adopters.md file by adding your organization. That would help the project a lot. We will skip the incubation. I still have to move that to a Google Docs file. Then, yeah. This is just now, I think it will be now a constant reminder. We have finished with or concluded the Metal3 team meetup, but I will keep the link to the notes here so we can easily refer to those in the future during the community meetings. And then there is one additional review request by Dimitri that was promoted to a reminder. This is the bare metal host API proposal, the V1 beta 1 proposal, and there is some ongoing discussion on this. And if anyone has anything to add to this discussion, I have a question today related to this, but if you have anything to add, please add a comment, because this is now waiting for about a bit more than 2 weeks, if I remember correctly, and we should soon conclude this proposal process. Okay, I have also made an additional section and pasted it into the template, and for the agenda, that is the community working group updates. We have discussed during the Metal3 team meetup that we already have at least one semi-permanent working group, which is working on scaling Ironic and related challenges. And if both that working group and others in the future, I think we think that they should report their progress on the community meeting whenever it's possible. So if you are part of a working group and you feel that you have anything basically to announce, you made a poke, you made some progress, then please do so. And then now we arrive to the actual discussion topics. The first two is from me, just short announcements. Since on the first part of last week until the first part of this week, we have had some E2E integration disturbances in the CI. You most definitely have seen those, and that was caused because the networking both for Keep Alive D and in general for the whole E3 process has been changed a bit. We have noticed in the past a problem, an oversight, that on the CentOS-based tests, the IPAM integration was not tested, and that was re-enabled, but that required us to change the base image, and that highlighted few other issues. And also some Keep Alive D configuration was a bit optimized now, but it should be up and running. So if you see still E2E integration problems, and you know that your PR is up to date, you have rebased it recently, then it's probably introduced by that PR. And then the other announcement is that we have concluded the first Metal3 team meetup. It was done in 2 parts, as you know, on the 15th and on the 22nd of May this year. And that I will do some follow-up, and most probably others will also do follow-up. So expect to see issues and topics popping up as a result of this discussion. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you who participated in either the first or the second or both parts of the team meetup. It was a very good discussion, and you can from now on until we don't have the new meetup, won't have the new meetup, you will always see that what was the result of the latest meetup. Okay, and then the first thing that's not coming from me is from Ricardo.
Hey, thank you. Yes, so as we spoke the first day of the team meetup, there were a couple of topics. Well, one big topic about the branching of ironic image, and I mentioned that to achieve that, we should probably go through moving out from RPM-based containers and use directly the ironic source. We are doing already some tests, and we also have already CI jobs that are using, well, not mandatory, but CI jobs that are using containers from source code. So the proposal here is to deprecate the RPM-based containers and just move to source-based containers to, well, leverage directly the code of Ironic and all related Ironic projects from upstream, and have also better integration between Ironic and Metal3. As you know, we already have a job. We enabled a CI job also in Ironic upstream that uses containers built from source code that is actually working very well, and it's considered as mandatory to pass Ironic tests. So it's based on Metal3 dev. So I think we have all the prerequisites right now to move out from the RPM-based containers and just use the source code. If there are if no one is against that, I'm going to create a PR during the week or early next week to do the switch. I'm not going to remove the RPM, the possibility to build the container using RPMs, because of course we need a period of deprecation, and but at some point, of course, we're going to remove completely the possibility to build the container using RPMs. Thank you.
Oops, thank you very much.
Thanks for adding the notes.
Yeah, no problem. Is there any questions or any other remarks related to this? I think if I think about the Metal3 CI and some parts of the Nordics organization CI, it will affect us a bit. I'm not even sure that do we use RPM or the source-based installation in our full stack tests, but yeah, it's just a note for myself and others. If you see the full stack fail, it might be that we have to also use the source-based if we are not using it yet, because I think that's the only place where we build it in our CI. Yeah, but thank you. I hope.
Yeah, I think like this process will take time anyway. We will probably see some failures at the beginning, and we'll have to adjust things. And also with time, we're going to change slightly how the how the container is actually built using source code, because we'd like to like unify the software installed in a single file, like a requirements file, and not like it's done at the moment. So diversify, almost completely change how the container is built, again to get the most value from the source code used directly instead of the RPMs. And by the way, one thing that is very important, of course, we are going to, like at the beginning, like to start, we're going to simply build the container. We're not going to do any particular change, if not switching the main way the container is built. But one change that we're going to do right after will be pinning versions to be able to start also cutting, like connect branches and releases to specific versions. So it would be easier to track.
Sounds great.
Yep.
I'll just write down some notes.
Thanks.
Great. Anybody? Any question? Anything? Okay. If not, then I have just a quick question related to this bare metal host API v1 beta 1. How do you feel? Should we add, like we have discussed this reuse of the pre-provisioning network data multiple times. There we agreed mostly on the details in that we should reuse it and probably should add some flag or something to signal which execution mode are we using. Is it for building an IP on the fly, or is it for patching the ironic node API? Should we add it here, or I don't think that's a breaking change, so I'm not sure if we should add it here, or just should I create a completely separate proposal?
It's not a breaking change. And it's not even an API change in a strict sense. I suggest you don't rule it here.
Okay. Okay. Good. That was basically all. I will just write it down. And is there anyone who is here in the meeting? Let me see. Yeah. Is there anyone who want to react to any comments or want to bring up something related to this v1 beta 1? I will ask this on every community meeting until this won't be completely
Just dropped a comment just now. In general, I really like this idea. I just wanted to make it a bit more clearer that what would be the criteria if we in future want to go to beta 1 to beta 2, and shall we document these type of things in general somewhere so that we are aware that, okay, from going from one version to the other, what would be the next or the criteria, like what kind of changes, of course breaking changes, but like do we have to gather all of them together and just wait for the next API version to be created? So something like a guideline, versioning guideline should be maybe updated a little bit on this.
I guess I should just follow whatever Kubernetes is doing. And I'm not entirely sure what Kubernetes is doing, especially when moving from beta to beta. My initial idea was to get v1 beta 1 out and wait out and wait. In general, let it sink in, let people start using it in production. Maybe even remove V1, Alpha 1 before we proceed further. Because I frankly don't know if you're going to see the need to have V1 Beta 2 ever. Or maybe just one day we say, okay, that's stable. We release it as V1. I probably don't have a good answer for your question, but that's roughly my feelings about it.
Yeah, BMO, specifically BMH in case is seems to me a bit different because there are like ongoing changes in Ironic and not all of them are exposed to BMH yet, and we are planning to gradually introduce some of these to BMH, which seems interesting for the community. So that's why I asked this question, that in my opinion there would be changes in future coming which might be a bit breaking for the API of BMH. So I was just wondering that what kind of guideline shall we follow? If you don't have any idea, I can actually search something and share with you offline to see if it makes sense regarding, let's say, Kubernetes guideline. For example, we kind of follow CAPI, and I think CAPI also follows the Kubernetes versioning guideline. So I'll try to fetch something.
That would be awesome, thank you, because you actually have more experience because you do versioning for CAPI, for CAPM3, and for me it's a bit of a new area, to be honest.
Yep, sure. I will share it with you if I find something.
I would like to ask the same question, but from a bit different point of view. So, yeah, surely we with the versioning we follow the Kubernetes way of versioning. What I would like to ask is from your point of view, what if we think about the users, what do you want to provide towards the user? So in your eyes, if we continue introducing changes, like how frequently, like what do you think? Is it okay, for example, if in every 6 months we actually release, we introduce so many API changes that can constitute a new version, like beta 2, for example, or beta 3 and going forward? So because I think this will change as we go forward, inevitably. So in your downstream, in your other upstreams, in wherever you are using the BMO, what is your requirement towards upstream? Like how frequently are we allowed to change if we look it from your perspective?
That's an interesting, a pretty good question, to which I don't have an immediate answer, I must say. I'd be curious to hear and to learn what Kubernetes is doing, because I don't think we should diverge too much. I definitely don't expect us to have a lot of breaking changes every 6 months. I hope it's not going to happen for significant time, or whether we should actually bump a version every time we add a feature in a not breaking fashion. That's something I don't know. That's what we do in Ironic, but I'm not sure what Kubernetes is doing. I still need to research a bit on this topic. I guess when we meet with Kashif to discuss that, we'll have a better idea.
Yeah, what I have read, that the guidelines are not that strict in a sense of what you are introducing. So I have seen, as you probably have seen, projects going into even double digits with one, like beta 10, and then going to like V1 and then continuing from there on. So I'm just thinking about like our community's perspective, that because how to name it and is it alpha, is it beta, how it is progressing, that's the simpler part. The question is that what do we want to provide to the community, and would we cause any disturbance for anyone if we, let's say, follow Kubernetes way of doing things and release new API versions of things quite frequently, because in the Capi world, in other Kubernetes projects, these API versions are changing quite quickly, and things come in and go out. So
are these normally breaking changes, or are they just bumping them to indicate something?
It's completely up to the project. So you see completely new way of doing things arriving, complete CRDs being deprecated, and then you see stuff like folks who quite quickly go into the major version release. I think Copy nowadays are quite quickly going into major releases, if I understand it correctly. So
Not major, like minor, I would say.
Minor, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
3 per year, I guess.
And
yeah.
their API, how frequently is it changing? Does that change?
API is not changing that frequently. I think they had this initially alpha 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it went to beta. And I think the last 4 or 5, I think 4 releases has been with the minor releases has been with the beta API. So there are, like, of course, breaking changes in between the minor versions, but that doesn't introduce the new API version.
Yeah.
But they were frequent when regarding alpha.
Yeah. The other thing is for me, which will be something a bit hard to how to say articulate, but when will we say that it is V1, and then start thinking about what comes after? So like when what I am a bit unsure about is the scope, like what because the whole versioning, at the end of the day, we are preparing for V1. So everything that we are doing, we are preparing for V1. And it might be good to discuss a scope for what will be a V1, a done, finalized version, because now we are almost talking about beta 1 as we would talk about V1, like because at the end of the day, V1 will be the stable version. So
You're raising a very good point. We need to know the scope for V1. We need to have a vision for that. That's a pretty useful exercise, and I guess maybe it could be actually the topic for our next meetup, honestly, like try to converge on how we see V1, because I know Zane wanted to rebuild the API quite significantly, but with Zane not so active on the project nowadays, I'm not sure who is going to do that, because that's a lot of work. So maybe we just give up on this idea and release V1 as we have it. We should probably, if we are planning doing this Metal3 host / whatever work, we should probably get it before V1, just to make sure it doesn't affect bare metal host in any way. Yeah, but that's just a quick question. I think it's going to be a much longer exercise, and I think we have to get V1 beta 1 out of the door first before we start talking about stable version. We are long overdue on that.
Yep, I feel the same way. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. One more question that we, for the testing purpose, I'm thinking we need to at least test, or how we need to decide on what are we going to test with when we have multiple APIs as well in BMO. Probably the beta would be the one that we are testing, but at least I think since we have decided there would be some branches, at least we need to then probably decide this on the branches, right? Not on the APIs.
Yeah, we're testing old versions of CapM3, right? And old versions of CapM3 will keep using the alpha API.
Alpha, yeah. Okay.
So that will give us some testing.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any other questions related to this? Where was it? Yep. What should I note? No, I don't need to do anything. Okay, so nothing. Okay, then we can go to the next topic and need help. Oh yeah, this is the yeah I was participating in this. It's Himanshu's PR. Would you like to talk about it?
Yeah. So I have been facing quite a few CI issues. So it turns out that the recent CI flake wasn't related to issue here. So if I have started a Slack thread, so if folks can take a look and see if they have seen something similar, that would be really helpful. Other than that, yeah. So Adam has also taken a look there and provided some insights there. So thanks for that.
Yeah, so this is a BMO change, and we have seen one error in the CentOS E2E integration for your PR that does not look like the stuff that we have seen in the CI failures. But the interesting thing is that we have run the Ubuntu based one, and I don't see where is your oh, this was aborted. So this test was actually not, it has not failed. Something or someone has aborted this for some reason.
Seems to be timeout.
Maybe, could be.
That's what it says, right?
Nested steps due to timeout. Interesting. And it.
I think the CentOS one also was seeing some timeout. So let me check if it's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, and this is weird because this is not an E2E test, by the way. This is not even E2E test. This is a Ansible based test. So your stuff is failing with both Ansible and with Go E2E, and on different distros. And one good thing to check if you have some issue with your PR tests is to go to the periodic list. It's easier if you put them into order and look for the type of tests that you are running. And if the daily version of that test is passing, then most likely your PR is introducing something. So for example, what do you have here? You have a BMO main integration test. And then if I go to, that's CentOS, E2E, BML. So here is the Ubuntu daily main integration, not E2E. This is the Ansible one, and it's passing on its own. So something is being introduced there. And then if I check the daily E2E for the CentOS, E2E, let's see. That's feature. That's release. For a feature. Okay, so this is the daily CentOS for E2E for integration, and that is passing by itself. And these are failing on your PR when they are using your BMO. So something here is.
It is
weird.
interesting. I just checked that it's failing while it's pivoting, and when pivoting, what happens is that we first set the cluster spec to post to true, and that actually does a series of stuff. It actually deletes, first puts everything in pause, deletes it from the source cluster, and then when everything is on the target cluster, it resumes the cluster by setting this cluster spec post to false.
Yes.
And that propagates through all the objects. And we add some annotation on the BMH when this happens. And then like at this point, the annotation should be removed.
Yes.
So something is happening at that point, and the cluster is not getting to a desired state as it was supposed to be.
Yeah, this is exactly the same conclusion that we have reached in on the Slack thread. That and the interesting thing is what I mentioned in the Slack thread, that in this specific place, in this specific process, I have never seen the failure. I have seen failures related to API availability and many things, but this exact one, that the cluster object cannot come out of the pause state, I have never seen in the tests, in the CI tests.
I'll take a look into the zip file, hopefully tomorrow morning, to see if we have something more there in the controller logs.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I will also see if I can find a few more messages that could help and also share on Slack. And since I think you mentioned annotations, and this is basically a validation for that, so maybe one of them is not working as intended. So I will also take a look again at the code, so see if I can find there something.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you for reporting this. It's always good to see what the CI is producing. Okay, is there anything else, or can we continue to the triaging?
I just wanted to briefly mention about the QA issue that we have seen today again, that the QA builders just get disabled without any notice. No notification is actually given anywhere, and then it's really difficult to find like what was wrong. You have to just go and re-enable the trigger, and meanwhile there is no way to know when it got disabled, or basically it's not working as it should be. I'm just wondering, for the CI, shall we not depend on QA at least for the CI and do something differently? So, and just to make sure that the controller images are always built whenever there is a PR landing on any of the branches. And this is always getting noticed whenever we do a release and we try to see if a new tag is available, and then we find out that okay, something happened, let's say 2-3 weeks ago, and the QA trigger just were disabled.
Yeah, from my side, I support transitioning to Jenkins, building these based on merge triggers, and QA also has no automated way of signing the containers. It supports signed containers, but I looked and I have not found any way of adding a signature. We can easily do that in a Jenkins job with cosign. And then at the end of the day, these would land also in QA. So these would be pushed up to QA, just wouldn't be built there. So what's your opinion?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Would this catch? And so, for example, if something is not the trigger is disabled, let's say, what would happen? We have a PR that has changed. Let's say the main branch, the commit has moved ahead. We need a new image for the main branch, let's say. So the Jenkins would actually build and push it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that sounds a good plan.
Same way as right now, it would overwrite the tag. So I think I'm now not logged into Quay, and it's a bit weird to log into there. But if I remember, Quay is not like Harbor, so it is not showing you those images that have no tag, because if I remember correctly in the registry, one tag can belong only into one container, but correct me if I'm wrong. So we would basically tag, like if it is easy for a new tag, but if we are updating something, so that's again a question that if we let's say we have a release bench and we backport something, what should be it? Then we have a patch release, right? We always patch with that. We always tag with the patch release, right? Not with the branch. How are we doing it right now? I don't remember.
Both actually. Branch. So we have a tag for every branch in QA. And then for the release, we have a release tag. So there is tag for everything.
Yeah. So then the branch tag would be reused and attached to the latest that was built, and then the release tag would be unique. Yep. Yeah. Then we have to write this logic in shell or something. Yeah. Any opinion about this from community? Building in Jenkins, is anyone against it? No one. Okay, cool.
Sorry, not against it. Just I would really like to have written down the differences in some place.
Okay, let me just write this.
Like the changes and everything, like what that what's actually changing there. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Sure. We can. And of course, all of those CI repos are publicly available, so anyone will be able to review and comment and modify the wrapper that would be adding the extra stuff like signage and whatnot. Okay. Then we go to the triaging. And I have done some minor triaging before the meeting started. So there was this unable to run example README, but the person who posted mentioned that K3S is used. Kepi, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Kepi is not supporting K3S, only K8S. So I asked this person to try it with K8S and get back to us. Then the other one is something that we have already answered. And our answer was that if the image field is set at the creation, then it will be understood as a request to provision right away. And then some clarification. And then this was, I think, the issue was that already when the BMH is created before inspection, before anything, the image was set. And then community agreed that that would instantly move the provisioning, right? That, do I remember correctly? I think we just answered it. I don't know what else to say here.
Yep, sounds like intended behavior to me at least. Was there an explanation why, like, why set the image directly on the bare metal host if anyway using CapM3?
No, that was not.
Okay, seems like some kind of misunderstanding to me. I don't get why anyone would do that. It seems counterintuitive.
Okay, let's explain it without this. Put the was it? Yeah, this is a part of the Metal3 machine template for control plane node. No, where that it was. Where do we set the image for BMH? We have the Metal3 machine template, right? That's one place.
Yep, that should be it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the control plane nodes are okay. Never mind.
You were thinking that, yeah, there are two, or you can have separate templates, one for control plane and one for each. Yeah, one for each machine deployment if you want.
Yes.
Or they can be the same.
Okay, let's keep it. Let's add. This is something. Oh, I am using this. Needs information. And is it a question? Yes, and that's it. Let's continue. Yes, yes. Triggers even on unchanged object. This we discussed last time. Dimitri mentioned that we will take a look.
Yeah, I couldn't spot the root cause from just staring at the code, so I need a reproducer to be able to judge it further.
Okay, I will put here needs more info on this. But okay, so it wasn't yet reproduced. Okay, then it needs more info. That's something new, completely new from last week. Fair to inspect hardware is unable to start inspection. That can be whatever. Okay. I have a feeling that this has been executed like this is done with only BMO, no CapM3, so probably with the deploy scripts, and then in the for the deploy scripts, the credentials were not passed in the environment variables as environment variables. I will paste here. There should be even documentation about this. I vaguely remember I have seen this somewhere. Templates, docs, deploying. This is password. Yeah, I guess we just have to read it. Not true. I want to link to the lines. Oh, code. Sorry. Okay, doesn't matter. I will just copy this. Okay. It's two different people doing the same stuff. No, it's the same person. Okay. Again, same stuff. Same stuff, same stuff. No, no, not book. Okay. And we need the information also. Okay, so that was a bit all over the place. So these we went through, all right, and then we have this. These are our old stuff and were not updated. So we can go to this draft. This is the last one in the needs triage label. And this is something I used to test. So this can be closed. Very good. Will you close it? Nice. Okay. Let's quickly check the stales, and I think we don't have to check anything else because we are already at the end of the meeting. So I should. This is. Let me help me with this, please. This is something old. More than a year. Okay. So is anyone working on this, interested in this, knows anything about this, what happened here? No, we have active PR actually. Okay.
Yeah, it just needs review, really.
Okay, then
I was planning to review it today.
Okay, then this is certainly not stale. Okay, good. Thanks. Great. That was all. I don't want to go into Frozen and have one. We don't have the time today. Any suggestions, problems, things you would like to ask? Anything? If not, then thank you for your time. Sorry, this meeting took a bit more time than usual. Have a nice rest of the day and see you next week.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.